So this is the sun visor of my Peugeot 307 2008 model. You're probably wondering why am I holding this sun visor like that? Because I released it. It's completely broken. This is completely broken. This plastic piece has fallen apart. The bolt is still there, but doesn't hold anything. The previous owner, I can see, has tried to glue it on, and there is quite a substantial amount of glue there, but this didn't really hold that long. So can I really fix this? But to be really good, stay tuned. I'll first remove the bolt. And I have to now take this plastic which has been glued. Use a support material screwdriver to unplug this glue. And there we go, we got quite a large number of glue all around which I have to remove when I fix this thing. So here how the piece should look like. This has to go about here. It has broken this side, so this flips over, moves, but it has completely broken like that. This is the piece that holds the screw, and if I turn it around, it looks like that. Well, it's completely apart. Doesn't really hold. So yeah, it probably costs not that expensive, but I don't really spend that much money, so I'll try to repair it myself. If it doesn't work, of course, I'll buy a new sun visor. Here, this is a video how to repair it. And first of all, I need to really soften this up in water just to remove it, scrape out all the glue from the previous one that was holding this, because it doesn't really get together quite well due to the glue everywhere. So I've cleaned it pretty well. I mean, there isn't not that much glue anymore. I tried with a screwdriver. I just scraped everything. I could have used acetone or something else, but I basically scraped it, and it's actually pretty good. Scraped that one as well. So the next thing is really to glue that piece like that with a super glue, so it will hold for the next phase. So my super glue is just a standard super glue UHU, whatever. And I'll hold it like that for until it kind of sets, until it it's kind of good. Hopefully it won't be too long. Yeah, that's a wait probably quite a while before this kind of glues together. Hasn't yet set the super glue, but it's getting there. So I've glued that and waited about 24 hours, and it's okay, glued, kind of alright. You can still see where the break was, but it's actually quite alright. I mean, I couldn't really get it to be slightly perfect. There is a line here, but that's alright. So the next phase is really to make a really good seal around, and I'm using a different tool for that, as the super glue is not really that strong. This will break straight away. So in order to do it really well and to stay and not really break again, I'm using this very cheap hot staple gun that I've ordered. That's in the description of the video. It's actually quite amazing, this tool. It will probably do this plastic as good as, probably better than new. It's fairly simplistic. Well, how does it work? It's a bit, it's fairly easy, but you can't glean this from the description. I mean, the description, it says instructions for use, but on the other side it's just Chinese. It only says hot stapler here. But it's fairly easy to do. That's the device. You put one of these. There are 4 different types. So this is to put on external corner. This is kind of a, I'm not too sure if it can be seen, kind of a jaggedy edge. This is for inside corners, and that's the thickest one. That you have to have a pretty thick plastic. I'm not going to use that, so use at the beginning that one. You basically stick it inside here, 2 holes, and it's pretty cheap, this device, so it's actually quite nice. You hook up to electricity, this puts a current, this becomes hot, you plug it in the plastic, you hold this button here to for current to go and this to glow hot. You stick it in the plastic, slightly rotate it, and then release this button. This cools down while you hold it, and then this goes into the plastic and just pull it out, and this stays in the plastic. It's like stays there, and it really creates a backbone for the plastic, and this probably will be better than the original one. So this gets embedded in the plastic like that, and then you basically cut these bits off here that these two will stick out, so basically you cut it off. And one other thing for the two, there is this that melts plastic. Basically you put it there, this gets really hot, and what I'm thinking, so then you can go along and do these bits and pieces, but I'm thinking also to go at the back here and just melt it to be more not so ugly with this cut here like that. There is a bit of a cut there. So let's get to it, and then you'll see how this works. Hopefully I'll do a good job. Of course, when you melt plastic there'll be a lot of fumes, so wear a mask. I'm wearing one of these masks, just not to breathe these fumes. A bit old, but still works. Definitely wear a mask. So the thing is, so I tried once, but this doesn't have really a temperature regulation. It very quickly becomes hot. So if it's hot, you have to release the button straight away and then slightly push it in, kind of melt it a bit here, so it's a bit will be potentially a bit ugly. And you release it. Hasn't gone through. It just has gone inside of the plastic, and that probably was, well, I meant it at the beginning. You just hold it too much, it was too hot, and then kind of burned the plastic. But this is actually pretty strong in there, so I can cut this, but I'll wait for this to kind of soften a bit more. I'll put one more next to it. So two of these inside, and the second one I hold it on the button too much and it melts the plastic, so you have to be rather quick. It was poking through that one. I have to cut it as well, so I can put a third one down there, otherwise it melts the plastic too quick, but otherwise it's actually quite good. And I'll cut the first one like close. You might have to hold it with the finger, otherwise it could fly somewhere. There we go. I've cut that one, and then the second one. There we go. They kind of stick only slightly, but that probably will be quite strong. Now I'll do that corner as well, just to hold the whole thing into place. So I'll also use one of these 90-degree ones. It's a bit difficult, there is a bit of a plastic there, so I'll try to stick it down here so it's kind of a 90-degree. It will be a bit, it will melt the plastic a bit here, but I cannot really, well, potentially somewhere here, but it will obstruct here, because then I would like to put 190-degree here for this round bit. So it has to be about here. So I've put one here of these two, the 90-degree. I've cut them. They stick only slightly, but one can file them if you want. Let me see, these stick only slightly. I'll see what I can do with those. Probably I'll file them once I get over with the metal thing. So use these two just to cover this big, just to melt it like that and cover it a bit more. Next is to super glue this bit that goes here, and the bolt goes through there and holds it, and then so it can stay together, and I can put this 90-degree all around just to hold it in place. So I've glued that in place, haven't waited that long, half hour. What I'll do, I'll try to stick one of these 90-degree centered here. It will go, this is fairly thick plastic, so it's actually okay. I mean, the problem with these is that it's just intricate detail, you can't really, this is just too thick to go into places, these metal prongs. So I'll try to stick one here. Potentially, if I can put one there as well, one here, and one kind of, I can put my hands around, and one probably about here somehow, twist it like that there in the gap, basically to cover all the cracks, and if I can put something in there. Here's the final result, trying to shine the light. So I filed those with a file here, and they're actually pretty good. They don't scrape that much, and it's pretty strong. I have to say, it's extremely strong. From the other side, So I use this tool around here to melt it slightly, and yeah, it's a bit raggedy. I mean, one can use sandpaper or something, spray it, but I'm not doing that. I only slightly through this hole, slightly they where the bolt goes, they slightly went through, so one has to be careful actually how far, but that's not too bothered too much about it, because this bolt doesn't really hold anything. This kind of goes inside the hole, and the bolt kind of spreads them slightly, so this will stick. But otherwise, this actually works. I mean, as it currently is, actually I'm pushing it from here and there. Actually works. Actually works kind of alright, and it holds really steady. I'm trying to not to too much to squeeze it, because I'm pushing on that corner, but actually turns around alright. Everything's alright, and it looks kind of alright. This what will be visible. It's a bit jaggedy, but there was a cut here. I couldn't really do much about it, but that will be actually alright, and this tool works amazingly. So next thing is really to put it on the car, put the bolt on, and see how this works. At the moment of truth, so I tried to scrape a bit of the glue, but it can stay there, it does nothing. There is a bit of a hard bit from the previous owner. So next thing is to stick this in and kind of push it. I think it's a push. Yeah, the previous owner, there will be a bit of a piece there previous owner has put. So next thing is to put the screw in. Let's see if this will be the biggest fail ever, or it will be kind of alright. It kind of works alright, but it doesn't hold at the back. So if I hold it with a finger at the back, it kind of works really well, but it doesn't hold down there. Opening actually works perfectly, but not closing. Closing doesn't. You have to kind of hold it with a finger. It's actually alright. So I was fiddling quite a bit with this, and it really, these metal things are extremely strong. This is probably better than when it was produced. The problem will happen, I was playing around pushing it too much, and these two were sticking here to metal bits that clamp it. So the bolt that goes here just doesn't really screw to anything. It just shifts this a bit slightly to the side, so it will make a better grip. So what I realized, so the previous owner had broken, there probably was a plastic here that was like that, and it wasn't holding from that side. So what I did, I drilled a hole in here, and I'll have a small screw that comes in here, and I have a rivet down there. I'll show it up there. Second thing, so these really broke. One of these broke, so I've cut them, and with the tool, with the heat tool, have made it really smooth. Unfortunately, I didn't really have any. I didn't have any metal with the tool on these, so they kind of broke the original. But everything else really works quite well. So I've made the. Let me move it. So I've made the hole a bit bigger, and I have a bolt because I have another rivet. I'll show it now. So this is how it looks now. I've got I drilled a hole here. Let me point with something else. Here I drilled a hole here, put a rivet, so the second bolt, and this where the plastic was coming in, this is a square. I've put another rivet, and this is it. I'll screw it up now and see how the operation with this tool. So how does it look now? I've screwed the two bolts in with this tool. Let's see how this was. Just remember how broken this plastic was. See? Actually, it's extremely perfect. This doesn't move at all. It's nearly the same bolt. There is a bit of a... Let me point with something. You can kind of see that the plastic where they've melted it, but that's alright. There is a hole here where the previous owner has probably put a a screwdriver or something, then there is glue here, probably a screwdriver to prise it off. But it's amazing how well it works. And this is perfect. This tool works perfectly. So I'll have a few tips and tricks for this tool in the next minute or so. But if you want to leave, thank you very much indeed for watching. That's how you can fix plastic on your car. And this is fairly complicated because it was a bit different design. But this tool really works actually quite amazing. I can't believe it how broken this was. And now actually works perfectly. A few tips and tricks about this device. It works really amazingly. It's fairly simplistic. It's got one button. When you press it, it puts current, heats up the element in between these two prongs. So it's got 4 of these. This, the very thick one, this is for really thick plastic, and it doesn't work on a thinner. We'll melt it very quick. But this works on a thicker plastic for bigger size, and this is actually quite useful. This is for 90 degree. So if you have a corner like that and you stick this between these two, so it goes like that, not on the handle of plastic, of course. This is for thinner plastics, and it's slightly smaller diameter. If I compare it to that one, it should be slightly thinner, and it is, yeah, it probably is a bit thinner, or at least they say it's a bit thinner. It works quite well. This is for external. This is for external corners. So, for example, if you have something like this, well, plastic, of course, not wood, you can stick it like that and melt it inside. One thing for these, they haven't been cut extremely well. So sometimes here on the edges, they kind of, when you push them inside into the prongs, they catch a bit. So when you melt it inside, it's a bit difficult to take out. But you could slightly, with pliers or something, slightly make them not so rough around the edges. Next thing, when you press this, and what I would do, I mean, my first attempt was really a disaster. I just melted the corner of that piece. So hold it with anything. I mean, let me see. This here. So hold it against the plastic, squeeze the button, and then once it gets melting inside, release straight away, and then put it inside and slightly rotate to right or to left to kind of go underneath the plastic. But don't really spend too much time holding this button. You can, while it's there and you see it, the plastic has gone back to shape, and you wanted to push it a bit more, you can squeeze it again and push it slightly more, but don't really hold it too much, otherwise it melts the plastic and it doesn't really do anything. What else? I mean, it's quite cool actually. I have to say, I'm extremely surprised. I'm not affiliated with any of these. I mean, this is unbranded. I bought it on eBay because I saw another video how good this is. You can repair plastic bumpers and any ABS plastic. What else? This is actually amazing. You can buy these replacement bits and pieces. But that's it. Wear a mask, because there is a lot of fumes, plastic fumes. Wear a mask. When you cut these pieces, hold them with one hand, because they fly anywhere. They could fly in your eyes or anywhere. But that's it. All the components of this thing, the description is in the description of the video. You can buy it from anywhere, Amazon, eBay, or anywhere. This is quite cheap, but a better design is where you can regulate the heat, so then this pressing, you don't need to be that precise, but these are more expensive. This is extremely cheap. I just wanted to see if it will work at all. I know they're much better at this. So this is it. That's how you can repair plastic components on your car, or any other plastic, ABS plastic. Let me know for any comments in the comment section. Thank you very much indeed for watching.